this is pretty much where I left off last time. And let's see. And this is where we're going. So this is on the old title block. This is a couple semesters old already. And so we're gonna obviously the title block's gonna be a little bit different, but this is the goal of what we're doing here. So in all of the office, we're going to have different light fixtures. And then in the open office area here, we've got some pendants and some the can lights that are actually hung off the ceiling. And then also in the office area, there are some linear fixtures here as well. So I just wanted to show you a couple images that hopefully will explain these fixtures so you're not, working in the dark, so to speak here. So, all right, in the office area where we have the ceiling, this is the type of fixture that we're going to be putting in. Sorry for the blurriness of this image, but this is an LED fixture. The LED lights are in this portion of the fixture here, and then if you ever look, if you see these fixtures, this is kind of curved or it's on an angle, and then the light comes out and it bounces against these bevels here and then shines down and gives a nice distribution of light in the office area. So these are we very often call these 2x2s because they are 2 feet wide by 2 feet deep. So they're 2 feet by 2 feet. So they're called 2x2 LED fixtures. The other kind that is very common are 2x4 fixtures. And these are 2 feet in this direction and 4 feet in this direction. So very often you'll hear lighting people talking about 2x4 fixtures, and that's what these are, and 2x2 fixtures, and that's what these are here. So, okay, that's those. Then we have some can type fixtures and wall washers. A wall washer is a circular round fixture and it's got a beveled or it either has a bevel on it or the middle part is movable so that you can direct the light. And we call them wall washers because we often direct them toward the wall or sometimes a piece of artwork or something like that, and it just washes the wall really nicely. And that's what these are. And here's another version of the same type of thing. And you can see the ceiling here, and the nuts and bolts of the fixture is above the ceiling, and then the fixture itself is down here. And this is the little bevel that on this one that is directing the light. So it's directing the light, to the left, or more or less. Um, in our area where we don't have ceilings, we're going to have these pendant type fixtures or suspended can fixtures, and they are suspended by either a cord or sometimes a rigid rod that comes down. And if you don't want them to be moving around a lot, you use a rigid rod, and that's what these are. And these will be in that area where we don't have ceilings. They'll be extending down in that area there. And then I think I've got one more fixture I want to show you. And this is in the workstation area. These are suspended fixtures here, and they are suspended by thin wires. You may have seen these in office type situations. These in this image are shining down, but there are also fixtures that shine both down and up, and you can control them independently. So sometimes you only want up lighting fixtures, and so that gives you reflected light. The light beams go up and then they reflect off the white ceiling and come down. It gives you a softer, more even distribution of light rather than this, which is shining down more, kind of like as a task light that's centered or located over the workstations. So we'll also be doing these on our in our office area where we've got the workstations. All right, so I just wanted to show you because I think it's a good idea to be able to see see the fixtures and know what it is that you're actually drawing. Okay, so let's now go to here, and I happen to have my partition plan open, but really, the ceiling is what we're going to deal with. So, as I'm putting the fixtures on the ceiling, what I want to do is I want to be able to see my furniture. And right now, as it stands, I can't. So I'm going to see if I can't find my furniture layer and turn it on. So I'm going to open up my layer properties here. Let me come down here. So if I look at my XREF for the furniture plan, it looks as if that layer is turned on. Well, you know what? Actually, yes, it's going to be turned on. But what I want to, let me think here. No, yeah, okay. So so that extra furniture plan is turned on. So, but I'm still not seeing the furniture. So what I need to do is I need to look elsewhere. So if I look in the partition plan here, that's XREF'd into my drawing. Let me see if I can find furniture. Well, that furniture seems to be turned on here as well. So let me look in that was the partition plan layers. Now I'm going to look in the furniture plan layers. And here is and the furniture plan, the iFern layer, furniture, and indeed this layer is frozen. So I'm going to thaw it. And iFern 2 is frozen. I may as well turn that on as well, or thaw that as well. And also, it looks like my millwork is frozen. And we do have some millwork here, and it wouldn't be a bad idea to see the millwork as well. So I'm going to thaw that as well. So I just thawed my millwork, my furniture, and my furniture 2 layers. And yes, there it is. There is all of my furniture. Now, I'm also noticing that my ceiling grid is a little bit, the color is, I think, a little bit bright, and I kind of want to it to take a back seat when I'm putting my lighting in. So I'm going to go and I'm going to change the color of that layer. So again, I'll go into my layer properties and I'm going to look for my ceiling grid layer, and here it is. And right now, mine is set at color 11. And I'm going to put it on a gray. And I think I'll just 252 or 253. I'll put it on 252. It's kind of a medium dark gray. And I want to be able to see it, but but I want it to sort of take a back seat because I really want to focus on the furniture and and also the light fixtures as I'm putting them on. Okay, one more thing about layers, and that is what layer we want to put our light fixtures on. So this time I'll just use the drop down here and see what I've got here. So, all right, I have 2 electrical layers here. There's an ELEC, E electrical, and that normally what I put on that is like circuiting or circuit boards or stuff like that. And so I'm not going to use that one. I'm going to use this E-electric fixture layer. And that stands for electrical fixtures. And that is the layer that I'm going to want to put all of my electrical fixtures up. So I'm going to set that to my current layer so that all my fixtures come right on it. Let me look at my ceiling plan again. If I can find it. Here it is. So, all right, I'm going to start down here, I think. And I'm not going to do all of these. That would be crazy town for me to do them all. But I'll just start with this room here, the break room. So I have a couple different kinds of fixtures here. I have the 2x2 LEDs here, and then over here I just have downlights, and these are located over the millwork over here, and I think there's a refrigerator over here, and then I put some seating on mine over in this area here. So we'll start with those. I'll start with the two by twos, and let me open up my layer properties or my layer palettes. And I actually opened up my lighting symbols a little earlier today, but if yours are not on here, just go and go over to your CAD blocks, and I put mine in a folder here, and it's right here, lighting symbols for project 10. And I'm just going to open that, and these are the fixtures that we're going to be using. So let's let's dive in. So I'm gonna start over here, and it looks like, and you kind of just need to kind of like follow the handout. So I'm going the second row, one, two over, and then one, two up. So this is where I'm going to put my first fixture. So if I just grab a two by two fixture here, it's asking me to redefine the block, and that's totally fine if it asks you to do that. So I'm just going to click redefine block. And so one, two, and then two up. So I'm going to just put it here, and then I need to rotate it up to that 27 degrees. And I'm just click the line there, and that rotates my fixture into place like that. So it's just right on the grid. Now, and that would be fine to insert all of your fixtures that way. But last week we talked about changing the UCS on. So last time we talked about rotating the UCS, and remember to do that, you just hover over your this UCS icon here. This has got the X and Y, and if you right click on it, can rotate the axis, and if you rotate it around the Z axis, you can either type in that 27 degrees, or if I come down here to polar tracking, I can snap it to 27 degrees and rotate my UCS. And that would be totally fine. And then bringing in a fixture automatically rotates it, so I don't have to deal with that rotation. I can just, well, I'm still dealing with the rotation because I have rotation turned on. So let me turn rotation off there. And if I bring in another one, it'll just pop in that way. So I find this to be a lot easier for bringing in fixtures because it just comes in. I find that intersection and I pop it right in. Another way that you can do this is you can copy fixtures, and this is something that I very often do. I'll just copy those two and then put them in like that. So, I can very quickly get my fixtures into my space by just copying them. So, whatever technique works well for you, that's totally fine. It's fine to do whichever one works for you. Okay, so let's talk about the little can lights that are going over here. And I think I've got three of them, and I want to center them right in this ceiling tile right here. And if you remember back in your high school or college geometry, if I draw a diagonal line in any kind of a square or rectangle, like this square here, if I draw a diagonal through it, the midpoint of that diagonal is the center of that square or rectangle. So that is just it's a real easy way to be able to find the center of any kind of object. If you're just putting a diagonal through it, we'll get that center for you. And it's something that you should take with you and use a lot. So, all right, so I'm going to use this LED can light right here. It's a 6-inch LED can light, and I'm going to bring it in It's asking me to redefine the block again. Not sure why, but if it asks you to do that, then it's fine. I'm just going to put it right at the center of that ceiling tile. And this block has an attribute right on it, and it's asking for the fixture alpha. And the alpha is the letter that is associated with the fixture. And in this case, it's a capital letter A. Let me just bring back the handout here. You'll notice that right here, all of these fixtures have an A next to them, and that's telling the lighting contractor, the person that's installing your light fixture, to use a Type A light fixture. And what are the light fixture types? Well, here's a lighting legend, and we're going to put this lighting legend onto our drawing later this evening. And you can see that right here, there's a type A, a B, a C, and a D here, and it describes each one of these, their wattage and the number of lumens and the color of the lighting in Kelvin, etc. So that is why this A is here. All right, I don't need that guideline anymore, so I'm just going to erase it and go back to my lighting plan here. And then, you can do it again, or like I was doing before, I'm just going to copy these. So I've got another one here, and I got another one over here, and then I put some seating over here. You may have laid yours out maybe a little differently, but I've got, I think, two or three light fixtures here. I want to make sure that I'm right at the center of the grid. And I think I've got one more light fixture right here, kind of like right at the entrance here. Boom, done. So that is that one. Let's now move over to the conference room or here, or the training room here. And over in this room here, let me zoom out a little bit. So I have some wall washers here, and these light fixtures are those ones I was showing you. They're can fixtures, but they have a bevel on it, or a rotating mechanism inside that directs the light. And these are a type C, as you can see, and they've got a little arrow attached to them. And the arrow is telling the contractor which direction to point the light. So you would think that it would be obvious to a contractor, okay, I'm installing a wall washer here, and I should probably wash this wall that it's close to, right? But you you would be surprised when you get out there in the field and you're dealing with these contractors. Sometimes they're just not thinking or whatever, and they'll go in all different directions. So we really do have to tell them. So that's what this little arrow is for, is to tell the contractor that for this wall washer, direct the beam of light toward this wall, in this direction toward this wall. So that's what that is. All right, so let us put in a wall washer here. And I'm just going to use that same diagonal technique that I used before. I think it's one, two, and then it's two off here. Yeah. And I'm just going to draw that diagonal, and then I'm going to use the same LED can light, put it in, and then I'm going to give it I need to give the fixture alpha, and in this case, it is C. And please use capital letters. So there is my C fixture. And now I need to put on that little arrow there. So the arrow is right here. And I'm just going to click on it and then pull it right in here. And oops, it's facing it in the wrong direction. So what I can do is I can use the rotate tool to rotate this around. Or let me just erase this. And if I turn on rotation here in my blocks, when I rotate when I insert the block, AutoCAD will automatically ask me if I want to rotate it. And in this case, I do. So I'm just going to reinsert it. And now I can, let me turn my ortho on. I can rotate it so that it is facing the wall. Okay, so now let me just copy. That looks like I'm two blank ones and then fixture, two blanks and a fixture. And then I have another one over here. This one is going to be facing this wall here, the side wall. So this is facing the wrong direction. And again, I can just use rotate if that, I just rotate this. Or I'm going to do the same thing because I don't know, I just like doing it. Just going to reinsert it and rotate the fixture, the direction of the light beam toward this wall. And then this fixture and the arrow is looks like three blank lights, three blank ceiling tiles. So one, two, three, and then there, and then one, two, three, and there. So you can see we've got this long counter on this side of the room, and these are pretty well spaced, fairly nicely, washing this wall. Okay, so let me move on into this area here, and I mean I see a couple things that I want to talk about here, but before I even get to them. Let's just talk about the lighting in this area here. So again, let me zoom in and so I have some wall washers here and or not wall washers, but some these are the suspended pendants that are hanging on a rod. And these are the B type fixtures. And you can see I've got a line of them here, and then I have three of them running down in this direction. So I'm going to place these just, to give you an idea of how I do it. So what I want to do is I'll start by locating this one. Once I locate one of them, the rest of them kind of fall into place. All I need to do is just copy them over. But the first one is a little bit tricky. So this row of light fixtures is 3 foot 4 inches from this soffit right here. And then this row of fixtures is 3 feet from this wall over here. So if I offset or O track over 3 feet and then come down 3 foot four, I should be able to locate this first fixture. And then from there, it's easy to get the other ones in place. So putting that on my other screen and zooming into this area. So I want that fixture here to be 3 feet over and then 3 foot four down. So I think I'm going to try. I could offset this, but I think I'll just start here and I'll O track over. Let me put my O tracking on here. I'm going to O track over if I can. O-tracking is not totally cooperating with me. Let me just see here. And oh, we don't have nearest on. Okay, so this may not work. Oh, there, I've got it working here. So it's going. I see the little green dotted line, and it's following that soffit. So I want to come over 3 feet, and then from there, well, this definitely is not going to be the way to do this, I think. Let me try one more time. And if this doesn't work, then I will use offsetting. So I'm going to come over 3 feet and then come down 3 foot. Oh, okay. So let me put a C on this one. So I guess what all I did was I started here and I O tracked over and I put this fixture here. Now it's not really where I want it, but so then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move this down with my ortho turned on 3'4". And I am going to double check myself here. So I'm going to use this measure here, and I'm going to start from the center of the fixture and go straight across. Yes, that's 3 feet. And then in this direction, it's 3'4". So I do have that located correctly. Now, if you're having difficulty placing it, you can always offset. You know, if I offset 3 feet, I can take this line, offset of 3 feet, and offset this line 3'4". And then you can see where these two offset lines intersect is right where that fixture is. But I was able to get it located correctly without that. All right, so then all I need to do is I need to copy this. And it looks like there's one to the left, 9 feet. And then there's another one beyond that, 10 feet, but I'm copying this one, right? I'm not copying this one. So if I want to get this one, it's 9 feet plus 10 more feet. So that would be 19 feet there. And then I would need to add another 9 feet. Oops, accidentally hit enter there, but that's okay. So I'll just take this fixture and copy it over 9 more feet. And then another 9 feet. So 9 feet and 9 feet is 18 feet. Or, you know, if the adding the distances is too much for you, then just, copy over 9 feet and then copy this one over 9 feet. That'll work too. All right, so now I need to, I'll just take these and copy down 9 feet, and then another 9 feet, which is 18 feet total. And I've got those, and then I need another fixture here, so I'll just copy this one 9 feet. So you can see I'm just taking, once you have one fixture, you can, easily with your ortho on, copy and get the other fixtures located. Now, I've got some wall washers back here, and I also have some mini pendants that are located directly over the reception desk here. Presumably, these mini pendants would be, more of a decorative fixture that is hanging down from the ceiling and is, just right over the reception desk. And those mini pendants, so let me just see here. They are 6 feet 6 inches from this back wall. So I'm just going to draw a line. I'm going right from the midpoint of that back wall, and I'm going to come down 6 feet 6 inches. I'm just getting that dimension right from the handout, and that is going to help me locate that line of fixtures here. So there's two pendants. There's a big pendant here, a 36-inch pendant fixture, and there is a little 6-inch mini pendant. And that's the little guy I'm going to use for this. So there it is. There's one mini pendant, and it looks like that they're 4 feet apart from each other. So I'll just offset 4 feet in this direction, and I'll offset 4 feet in this direction. And I've got my cute little mini pendants located. And I don't need this little guideline anymore. That was just to help me locate this one here. Uh, there's some there's some wall washers back here. I'm not going to put those in, but same principle. Align the first one with the midpoint of this wall, and then 4 feet over and 4 feet over for those wall washers. All right. What else? I've got, let's move over to, let's put that larger pendant in the conference room here. So, all right, it looks like I've got the pendant, more or less, I think right here at this tile here. And I'm going to just draw a little diagonal here. and that's where this pendant is going to go. So let me just put into this 36-inch pendant. I'm going to turn off my rotation here, down here, because I don't need to rotate this. There it is. Now, what's not right here is is the the table and the chairs, right? It's not centered under the pendant. Now remember, when we are when we're designing, we're kind of doing, we're both manipulating furniture and lighting at the same time. So, sometimes you're locating the light fixture where you want, where the furniture is, and sometimes you're relocating the furniture to where it makes sense underneath the light fixture. And that's what we're going to do here. Now, if you remember, this is an external reference. It's an XREF. So all of these are an XREF here. So what I want to do is I want to move this table here so that it goes right underneath this light fixture. And to do it, it's actually pretty simple to do. If I have the XREF selected, you can see it's highlighted. And if I right click, I can edit the XREF in place. So this allows me to edit this external reference. So I'm going to click on Edit XREF in place. And every single block that is in this external reference is listed right here. And I'm not interested in any of those. I want to edit the entire drawing. So I want to make sure that this top furniture plan is selected right here. And then I'll just hit OK. Give it just a second here. And you can see that our drawing has actually is actually dimmed out. And now I can select this and move it. So I'm going to move this table and chairs here, and I'll move it so that the center of the table aligns with the center of that light fixture. So that is going to be just perfect. And then when I'm done, we're going to do this a few times tonight. When I'm done here, up here under Edit Reference, there's in my home ribbon, there is a reference editing palette here, and I can save the changes. So when I do that, I can hit OK, and I'm back to my regular drawing here, and you can see that when I select this, everything is selected. So what it's actually done is it's actually moved this table in my furniture plan drawing, in the separate furniture plan drawing. Notice though that my furniture plan drawing is not up in AutoCAD. I did not open it. And that's important. If you open up if you try to edit the XREF while the furniture plan is open, you're going to have an issue. You're going to get an error message because AutoCAD's not going to know what to do. Do I maintain what is on the actual furniture plan drawing, or do I follow what he's doing when he's editing the XREF? So just as we're working, make sure that your furniture plan is not open. It's okay to have the partition plan here, but you don't want the furniture plan to be open. Okay, so let's move over to this area here. And right over here, the idea, the designer's intent here was to have this soffit here kind of, it jogs out here and then goes over to the wall. And then these, if you remember, these are those little private uh, phone rooms or booths that you can have a private conversation or a private phone call in. And the idea is to have these just kind of line up with this soffit. And also, with this little seating arrangement here, this is kind of awkward right here because it's kind of like half of it is under the ceiling and half of it is in the open ceiling. So I'm going to move this. I think I'll move it in front of this column so it's all under the open ceiling area as well. So again, I am just going to go in here and I'm going to edit this, my furniture in place. So I'll go right click, select the furniture XREF, and then right click and then edit XREF in place. Just hit OK. And I'm just going to move and actually, oh my gosh. So I moved this. This is like exactly in the right spot. I don't know how I did that, but I've literally put this precisely where it belongs. The odds of that is like incredible. But this one's a little bit off. So let's move this one so that it also is just right against that soffit. So presumably these are high enough and they'll just go right to the underside of the ceiling and then this soffit will kind of like finish it off around them. And while we're here, let's move these little chairs so that they are, let me turn off my ortho here, so that they're, squarely underneath the open ceiling area here and not under the lower ceiling, the lower ceiling tile area here. And I think the Brody chairs look okay for now. So we'll come back to this area here, but for now I'm going to save my changes on the XREF and then move on. So yeah, let's move on to this area here. All right, so I'm going to start over with these. So these are the suspended linear fixtures here, and I believe these are called jump surface light fixtures, and they're here and they are suspended right below or right above the light fixtures here. Or they're, let me say that again. They are suspended right above the workstation right here. There's workstations over here as well. I'm not sure. Somehow I think that these two should be ganged together, but let's look at it and see. So I'm going to start with this guy here, and I just can't believe how precise I am here. And this workstation is landing directly, and I mean uncannily directly, right underneath this ceiling grid right here. Now, when we're putting these linear fixtures in, I'm just gonna put it in right here. I know it's the wrong spot, but I just kind of want to show you. So this fixture is suspended. This is the perimeter of the fixture here. And then there's four circles here represent the wires that it is suspended by. And generally speaking, when you are suspending these fixtures, you want to suspend them from the grid, the ceiling grid, and not the ceiling tile. Why is that? The ceiling tiles are just really weak. I mean, you can take that. I'm sure you've touched or held ceiling tiles before, maybe not, but you can almost crumble them in your hands. They just really are really quite delicate. And that's because they're very acoustical. They have all kinds of holes in them to absorb sound. And but they're not really good at carrying any weight. So if I hang this light fixture, and it's not super heavy, but it's heavy enough that these ceiling it may not be able to support them. So, but the ceiling grid can support them. So, so what we want to do is we want to put our our light fixtures on the grid, and then we want to locate our furniture so that it is as close as possible directly underneath the light fixtures. So I'm gonna, you know what? I'm just gonna erase this guy, and I'm just gonna bring in a new one. So when I'm bringing it in, I'm not looking, right now, I'm not looking at at the furniture. I'm looking at the ceiling grid. And the ceiling grid, if you remember, is the gray line that I have here and here. And I want to locate this fixture right at the intersection of this. There's intersection right there of this grid line and this grid line. So my ceiling fixture or my light fixture is right at that grid line there. And then on the drawing, it's showing a space in between them. Like the next one would be here. But if I do that, let me just see. I think that that's a little bit wonky. Let me put that right here. And by the way, if you can't find, like I want to find this intersection here, but I'm getting perpendicular, you can always override that by just, if I want intersection, I can type the shortcut for intersection, INT, and enter, and then it will always find the intersection of that, whatever it is that you're trying to place. So if I put this with this gap over here, this is like hanging off. And that's weird. So I'm gonna break away from the way that drawing the handout is, and I'm gonna move this and I'm gonna put it right tight up against this light fixture. And that's called ganging. Ganging. So when we gang light fixtures, we're taking two separate light fixtures and we gang them together. And what literally happens is the lighting contractor literally screws the two of them together so they act as one. And I'm sure you may have seen offices where there's like long pendant light fixtures that go clear across the office, in long lines of them. Well, obviously that's not one light fixture. Well, maybe it's not obvious, but that is not one light fixture. It's a bunch of shorter light fixtures that are ganged together. Okay, so this furniture here seems to be actually in pretty good space shape here. I might want to locate it, move it a little bit over to the left here. So I'm just gonna go and edit this XREF. And now I'm going to move this, and I'm just going to go right from here, right to where the two light fixtures are ganged together. Now let me save changes. And now it is directly over the light fixtures that I put in. Remember that when when we're working, on our CAD here, we're using both the furniture and the lighting at the same time, and we're placing the lighting where the furniture goes, and then we're moving the furniture so that it aligns perfectly with the lighting. But remember that in the field, when they're actually building out your just space, your design, that's not the way it works. So first they build all the walls and then they put in the ceilings and then the lighting contractor comes in and puts in all of the light fixtures. And then the furniture guy comes in and they start installing the furniture. So they're looking for a clue, and the clue is these light fixtures that are already installed. And they're going to go, oh, okay, we're going to take this 4-pack of workstations here, and we're going to place it right underneath these light fixtures here. Similarly, like in this conference room here, right? So when this space is ready for furniture. The ceiling is going to be in, and this pendant fixture is just going to be hanging in the middle of the room, and there's going to be no furniture. And then the furniture guys are going to come in and they are going to place this table directly underneath the light fixture, just like I did actually just a few minutes ago. I actually relocated and placed this furniture directly under the light fixture. So that's why it's important to get your light fixtures exactly where you want them because other people are going to use them as their guide, their helper in order to place the furniture. Okay, so let me just do, I don't know, one or two more here. I'm not going to do a lot here. I'll do this six pack over here. So I want the six pack to be directly underneath, or I want the lighting for the six pack to be directly on this on a ceiling grid line. And so I'm gonna place this one. This one I am gonna rotate here. And I'll place it, it looks like more or less here. And then I'll rotate it down to, let me put my ortho on. I think it's a little easier for me. There's one. And then this one does have a gap between. These are not gang. There is just a ceiling tile, a 2-inch, 2-foot ceiling tile between them. And now I will relocate this workstation. So I'm gonna just kind of move it down so that it aligns. Really, the way to do this is, let's just be a little bit more exact. So I want to align it so that it's right, so that the spine of the workstation is right above the spine of the light fixture. And then, so this is overhanging a little bit over here. Why don't I maybe move this down a little bit so that it's more centered right on top of the light fixture. I don't want to go too far from this column because if you remember when we were placing the furniture, we need to use this column to bring a whip, electric power into this workstation. So this needs to be this is about as far as I dare pull this away. So this needs to be close to that. All right, so let's save these changes. And there, that is lining up, well, fairly close. Um, if I, this is hanging over a little bit on this side, and this is pushed over a little on that side, but I think that'll be fine, I think. These light fixtures are high enough so that no one's going to bump their head over them. So I think that that'll be fine. Okay. So I think you get the idea that it's sort of a give and take back and forth in getting the light fixture in where it needs to be and then adjusting the furniture, just tweaking the location just ever so in order to get it where you need to get the furniture. So I'm only gonna take it this far right now, but I'm gonna save my ceiling plan here. And then I'm going to go over to my partition plan. So let me close the blocks palette here. And and it's asking that my XREFs were modified. I'm going to reload my XREF. So I will click on that. And so now let's see what's going on. Let me go over to my lighting plan here. And well, oh yeah, I am. I'm seeing my light fixtures here, and they are over here as well. So this actually looks good. By the way, notice that the color of my ceiling grid is the same as it was before I changed it. Remember on the ceiling plan, I changed it to that gray over here. But in my partition plan, it's still the same color. If you don't have to, but if you want to change it so that it's more consistent, just go into model space, open up your layer properties, and then go over to your ceiling plan because that's where we changed it and look for the ceiling grid. Here's my ceiling grid on the ceiling plan. Sure enough, it's color 11, and I'll change it back to 252, that medium dark gray. And there, when I go back to my lighting plan, now it's grayer and I can see my light fixtures here. So that I think that is pretty good. So let's look at our other plans here. I'm going to do regenerate here. Let me go into white model space and regen. And it looks like I'm not seeing my light fixtures, but I suspect, let me just double check here. I'm just going to open up my layer properties here and let me go. So my ceiling lighting is frozen here. I'm going to turn it on. And okay, so I'm not seeing it because my ceiling and lighting layer is turned off here. So that is just going to be fine here. I'm not worried about it. Let's just double check my partition plan. And also, I'm not seeing my any ceiling stuff here. If you do see ceiling stuff, double click, go into white model space, open up your layer properties, and then find the XREF layer that has your ceiling lighting and lighting stuff on it, and make sure that in the current viewport freeze down here, that layer is frozen. Super important. And then that'll freeze your entire ceiling, grids, light fixtures, everything else. And let me just double check the building shell. Also, that looks good. So layer management is always super important. Always double check your stuff. Double check all of your layer management for all of your tabs before you turn your stuff in. Okay, so one more thing that I want to talk about, and that is dimensioning. There are some dimensions. There's not a lot of dimensions on here because most of the dimensions happen uh, most of the light fixtures are located by the ceiling grid. So what the contractor will do is they literally count ceiling tiles. Okay, this is one, two, three, 4.5 tiles over, and that's where I start this one. That's the way they do it. But in this area, we have some dimensions. So you're going to need to put in those dimensions. And you can put those dimensions in on your ceiling lighting plan here. But if you're going to do that, you're going to be working in model space, and you're going to have a problem. So that means that you would have to go here to 18 by 24 and do it in white model space. And that's a little bit of a pain in the backside. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to go over to my lighting plan here, and I'm in white model space. And here I have a dimensions layer here, an A anode dims layer, but notice that anode dims layer here is frozen. If I thaw that layer, well, it's showing me all of these dimensions here. These are the dimensions for the building shell. So that's not good. That's not what I want to do. So let me go over here and freeze my A anode dims layer again. And this time, though, what I need to do is I need to create a new layer. So I'm just going to open up my layer properties here, and um, I've got, I have an E electrical fixture layer, and that's where all of our light fixtures are on our ceiling plan. So I'm going to create a annotation layer for my electrical fixtures. So I'm going to just create a new layer. And because this is for electrical, I'm going to start it not with A, but with E, and it's annotation. So I'm going to call it anno, and then it's electrical, and it's fixtures. So I'm calling it E anno electrical fixtures, ELECFIXT. And right now mine is set to color 21. I like to have them, this is at 221. You could leave it at, you know what, you can make it whatever color makes you happy. I'm going to make mine sort of this purplish color, just to keep things a little bit different. All right. So one thing that I do want to do though is I want to be careful about line weights. So my dimensions, my A anodims and my A anodims new, are both, the line weight for them is set to 20.20 millimeters. So for my electrical fixture annotation, I also want to set that to 20. And mine just happens to be 20, so I'm good. But if yours is not, just go over to line weight and then set it to 20. Point, not 20, 0.20. All right, then let me make that my current layer. And I can, in white model space, of course, let me go to annotate, and I can do one of two things. One, I can go over to a line dimension here and go from the center of this fixture to the center of this fixture, and then I get a dimension, and that'll be just fine. Or what I can do is I can rotate my user coordinate system. So I can just right click on here, rotate axis around the z-axis, and then go to 27 degrees. This time I'm just going to type 27. And I've rotated my UCS. And now let me erase this. And rather than use aligned, now I can use a linear dimension. And I can click on that. What it's doing though is it's giving me my dimensions upside down. So I don't like that. So let me just see if I can't reverse these dimensions. So I'm selecting these and I'm going to open up my properties palette here. And down here, under text. So I have the dimensions selected, and down here, you can see that the dimensions have all kinds of properties attached to them. But I'm looking in the text area right here, and I'm going to look at here the text view direction, and it's going left to right. And I can change that. There's a little drop down here, and I can go right to left. And now it's changed the direction of those of the text of the dimensions. So either way, I just wanted to show you both ways. You can either change the UCS, or I'm going to go back to the world coordinate system by just typing UCS and then W for world. And then from here, I can use not linear, because if I use linear here, like for this dimension here and here, I'm gonna get something like this. And that's wonky. That's not what I want. So let me erase that. So what I need to use is aligned. And just make sure that you're getting from the center of the fixture to the center of the fixture. It's really, really important to get right from the center so that your dimensions will be aligned properly. Okay, so one more thing that we need to talk about, and that is the legend. The legend, remember, is let me see if I can find it here, is this thing over here. Now, this was done on this really small sheet here. I think this is like 11 by 17, and whoever this was that did this, just really squeezed this on here. It's ridiculous. But we have all kinds of space. So when I am putting in a lighting legend, I will either put it maybe over here, but generally I leave this area for general notes for the project. But I'm going to put the lighting legend right over here. So I want to do my lighting legend not on the partition plan, but I'm going to go back to my ceiling and lighting plan, and I'm going to do the lighting legend there. I'm on the adjusted UCS here. So I'm going to go back to my world coordinate system, and I'll just type UCS and then W, or you can come down. Oh, all right. It's blanking it up. I'll just type W and I'll be back in my world coordinate system. So what I need to do is I need one of every fixture, and I like to just going to draw a little guideline for myself here. And I'm just going to go in and put in these fixtures, and I want them to be right on this guideline. I drew this guideline here. So let me go over to my O snaps here, and I'm just going to select right now nearest. And that allows me to select anywhere on this line. So I'll just pick that. And I've got this 6-inch mini pendant. And I've got this fixture here. And I'll just put in an A here. I think I'll put an A in here. Capital A. And then, and I have 4 of them. I have an A, B, C, D. So I'll just put those in. And the C and D have the little arrow. Those are the wall washers. So I'll put in a little arrow. And then I can I think I think that's all the fixtures. I'm not gonna do all of them in any case. So I think actually I'll move this fixture over to the left like that. So now I'm gonna put in some text. And see if I can find my text here. I actually up on Blackboard, I have reflected ceiling notes and I've got a lighting legend here. And so the we well, I'm gonna put both of these in. I'm not gonna actually do everything here because that would bore you to tears, but I'm gonna put a couple of these in here. So first thing I need to do when I'm putting in text is I need to be on the right layer. So I am going to go onto my ANO text layer. And then I need to do, and then I need to make sure that I am at the right scale. So I need to adjust the scale. So what scale do I need to be at? Let's go back to our partition plan here, and let's look at what the scale of this drawing is. And it is 3/32. 3/32 equals a foot. So when I go back into my ceiling plan, I want to match the scale. I want the scale to be the same. And I already did it here. Mine is already set to 3/32, but if yours is not, just come up here and find 3/32. So you want this scale down here to match the scale of your drawing. That's super important because that is going to adjust the size of the text on your uh, 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 on here as you're working. Okay, so when I am, let me go over to my annotate ribbon here. Now I need to select the text style. So there's 3 text styles, if you remember. There's 1/8, there's 3/16, and there's 3/32. Generally speaking, when I am putting in room names, I will use 1/8 of an inch. And sometimes when I'm doing schedules, like a door schedule or room finish schedule, I'll use 1/8 inch text. 3/16 is big text, and I will usually use that for titles like reflecting ceiling notes or lighting legend. And then 3/32 is the smallest text. That's the same size text that we use that comes in when we are putting dimensions or we're using a multi-liter. That it comes in as 3/32. So when we're doing notes and stuff like that, or these legends, we're going to use the small size text. And then for this, I'm going to use multi-line text here, and I'm just going to draw a text box here. And now I'm going to do a little bit of typing here, so just bear with me. Phillips, and I'm also, and we are typing in caps here. What length? Luminous end caps. White paint. 54 watts. So it says um, uh, 54. It spells out watts, and you could do that. But in the industry, if you see 54W, anyone will know. Any electrician will know that that means 54 watts. T5 uh, 835 lamp. That's the actual light fixture, the actual lamp suspended at 96 inches AFF. Anyone know what AFF stands for? So when I am putting this on here, I can adjust I can adjust the length of this text box by just coming over here and hovering. I get the little right and left arrows, and I can pull this out so that I can, make this a little more manageable. And if that is still too big, I can double click within this here and then pull it out even more. Or I can click on this and there's a little column width here, and I can make this smaller this way as well. So the nice thing about doing text boxes is you can, there's word wrapping within the box. All right. So then what I will do is I would take this and copy this down and put in the next one. And uh, and as I'm working here, what I'll do is I'll move these down so that the symbol here aligns with what the text is. So this one would be the pendant fixture. So this would be a pendant with 426 CFL lamps mounted at 90 inches above the finished floor. AFF is above finished floor. So that tells the contractor how high to mount that fixture so that, nobody's bumping their head. If you leave it to the contractor to determine the height of the fixture, who knows what you're going to get. All right, so this kind of gives you the idea here, but using the power of I have done this once before, here is my lighting legend here and my lighting. Oh, I've got lighting legend and I put lighting legend here, but this is actually reflected ceiling notes. So I'm going to change that. So, I just typed these in, put all of my fixtures in here, and now I'm just going to save again, saving my ceiling lighting plan. And now I'll go over to my partition plan here. And my XRF was modified, so I need to click on that and reload it. And let's just go into model space here. And okay, so this is the area that I was just working on. And over here, this is what I had done before. So I'm going to use these right here. So let me go back to my lighting plan here. And I'm going to create a viewport. So I'll just go to layout, rectangular viewport, and I'm going to put a big old viewport right here. Now, generally speaking, when I am putting a viewport in my drawing, and I have multiple viewports. Notice I'm putting this on the viewports layer. When I have multiple viewports, I don't like to put them in just the way that I did here, where I've got a viewport here, and then I have another viewport that is totally inside this viewport. Why? Because sometimes if I click on this viewport, okay, so now I'm in white model space for my ceiling plan here, right? And I go back to paper space, and then I double click. I want to get into white model space for this viewport. Well, oh, look, it's going into this viewport. I'm not going into white model space for this viewport. So AutoCAD is a little bit touchy about it. But if I take this viewport and I overlap it or I extend it beyond the limits of this viewport, so I've got the big viewport here and then the little viewport is extending beyond it, then I can double click within this viewport and go into white model space for this one. So it is kind of good practice to make sure that you're kind of overlapping and that way that will assure you that you can always get into white model space in whatever viewport that you're working in. Okay, so I want to set my scale of the viewport to obviously 3/32, the same as it was before. And then it's way too big, but I'm gonna so that's not fitting very well, is it? So I think what I'll do here is I will divide this into two things here. So I'm going to move this viewport up here. And I want to make sure that all of this text here, it fits within the within the border of the project. If you look, so this text is extending out and it's crossing the border of the drawing. So I don't want that. I want it to be all within here. So a couple things I can do. One, I can move this to another location so it works. Or two, I can go back to my ceiling plan here and take some of this and squeeze it in so it's a little narrower. And when I do that, it's all squishy now, right? So I need to kind of manipulate this stuff and move these down so that everything reads nice and cleanly. And then I'll save. I need to save my ceiling plan. I'm on my ceiling plan. When I go back to my partition plan, I need to update the external reference, which it did, and there it has pushed it in so that it is all within the border of my drawing here. Um, if I do a plot preview, if I come over here to plot preview, you can see that my lighting legend is all within the border here, and that actually looks okay. Now I need to deal with the notes. And so I need to find a place to put the notes here. And maybe what I have to do is I have to maybe move the lighting, the actual lighting plan here so that I can get the notes in here, or maybe the notes go up here. I think what I'll do, I'll start by, I'm going to make a copy of this viewport. I'll pull this one so it's just a little bit beyond that viewport there. And I'll pan down here. So there are my notes. And I think I'm going to move the lighting this up a little bit. So what I want is I'm going to just draw a guideline here. So notice I just drew a guideline, and this is in paper space. I just drew this so that my reflected ceiling notes title and my lighting legend notes title, they kind of line up with each other. And that just makes it look a little more professional. And I can move these so that they're a little closer to each other. And then I'm seeing down here the lighting legend, so I don't need to see that. So I'll just crop this up. I'll just move the viewport up. So all I'm seeing is the ceiling notes here. And but this is weird here, right? Because I've got the text on top of my drawing. So what I will do is I'm going to go into white model space for my ceiling plan here, and I'll just carefully unlock my viewport, and then I'm just going to pan down. And I'm just kind of moving the drawing so that I can get both the lighting notes and the legend in, and it's not overlapping on my ceiling plan. And then, of course, I will lock my viewport and just double check, make sure that it is at 330 seconds. We want our drawing to be at the correct scale. And that's it. So I've got my reflected ceiling notes. I've got my lighting legend notes. I have my reflected ceiling plan here with all the light fixtures on. Obviously I don't have all the fixtures on because I just did a few of them, and everything I think looks pretty good. If I do a plot preview, and by the way, you can do a plot preview from here. And if you don't have this plot preview button here, there's a little down arrow here, and you can find plot preview here and just make sure that it's checked. Or you can just go to plot and then go down here to preview. Notice by default, it's set to AutoCAD PDF. That should be the default. And if I go to preview, I can see my drawing and I can see my notes here. Okay, so your goal for 2 weeks from now is to finish off your ceiling and lighting plan. If you haven't finished the grid yet, finish that. Place the light fixtures in the plan. Get some dimensions in. Put in your reflected ceiling notes and your lighting legend. And then double check on your partition plan to make sure that each sheet has the correct information on it, and that I'm not seeing the wrong type of stuff. And by the way, look at right here. I am seeing some dimensions here. So what are these dimensions? These dimensions are, if I go over to my lighting plan, these are these dimensions here. So I'm going to go over to my building shell, go into white model space, and I'm just going to freeze those dimensions because I don't need to see them. I don't need to see them on my building shell plan. Similarly, if I go over to my partition plan, I'm seeing those dimensions, aren't I? So I don't want to see those. I'll go into white model space, freeze those guys. And my furniture plan, I certainly don't need to see light fixture dimensions on my furniture plan, especially when you can't even see the light fixtures. So I'll freeze those too. So layer management is super, super, super important. And you really need to watch it because stuff will appear and you want to make sure that all of your drawings are showing the correct information for the correct contractors that are going to look at it. The furniture people, they're not going to be looking at the lighting plan. And the lighting plan are not going to be looking, the lighting people are not going to be looking at the furniture plan or your partition plan or your building shell plan. So it's important that the correct information is always shown on the correct drawings. Is that clear? Any questions, anybody? Okay. So that's it. So in 2 weeks, turn in those three sheets: your ceiling lighting plan, or your lighting plan or ceiling plan, your partition plan, and I don't have the furniture plan up, but your furniture plan. All three of those get uploaded to Blackboard.